What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. For this video, actually, we're gonna do a solo breakdown, and it's gonna be a breakdown of the recent events that I'm sure, I'm sure by now you've seen. Talking specifically about the meeting between Zelensky and our great President Trump in the Oval Office and how that went down. Like I said, I'm sure you guys have seen it. It's pretty crazy. We don't get to see those kind of things very often. Obviously, Trump is not a part of the very often. Uh, so this is, I guess, a part of diplomacy. What diplomacy can look like when everyone's not on the same page to punish the common man. But it was pretty explosive, man. Trump was trying to sue for peace, and Zelensky is representing, not wanting to sue for peace, wanting to get other things going on, which might not lead to peace. It might lead to more escalation. Long and short of it, I agree with Trump. I'm standing with him. Could he have been a bit more tact, a bit more, cooler proceedings? There could have been, but obviously we're not seeing all the effort behind the scenes. We're not seeing the days, the weeks that this have been that this stonewalling, that this backpedaling, that this apprehension for peace from Zelensky has been going on. We don't know how long it's been going on. We don't know how arduous the process has been. What we do know is that it's been going on for a long time, So here we have Zelensky come to the Oval Office, not with peace in mind, obviously, but for him it was another opportunity to try and get what he wants, and to use the American press, which he knows will be sympathetic to him, and the continuing the war as it is going on now in Ukraine. Continuing, they are very much on the side of continuing the hot conflict. We've seen that they have been empty checks sent to Ukraine, pretty much. Whenever he comes, he leaves with how many billions of dollars. There's been no diplomacy up until Trump has come in. The only diplomacy has been for everyone to come together and talk about how bad Putin is and Russia is, and we can do that all day, every day. I got no problem with that. He's a world leader. That goes for all world leaders. They're open season. But let's do it when we got peace. How about that? How about we get the peace going? We have an opportunity here with Trump. We should take full advantage of that. So that's where for the speed version of why I agree with Trump on this. Obviously, it is because I want peace. I want the bloodshed to stop. I don't have any interest in dead Ukrainians. I don't have any interest in dead Russians at this scale. This is ridiculous. And not to mention I'm a Christian, so we should be called the peacemakers. So let's do that. Going a little bit deeper, though, I want to talk a little bit about the some of what could be some fallout from this. Like I said, I agree with Trump. However, there are some considerations which I think need to be addressed. I'm not saying Trump doesn't know of this. I'd be shocked if this wasn't something that they're talking about that they don't know about. First of all, they know about what I'm going to say, but I'd be shocked if this wasn't something taken as seriously as I'm taking it. There's a couple things I want to talk about. The first one is going to be about the pressures on Zelensky. I'm not excusing him, but there are pressures on Zelensky that we need to be aware of and that we need to take into account when dealing with Zelensky. And also the power dynamics that are in play here, both because of Ukraine and just a larger global structure and how Trump is fitting into that currently, and obviously how they would want to move. So the first one, the pressures on Zelensky. Zelensky is not doing what he's doing. He's not stonewalling peace because he himself is just some evil comic book character that doesn't want peace. Maybe to some degree, I can't say how much that's the case, But Zelensky is getting a lot of pressure applied to him. A lot of pressure. I didn't have this set up, so I'm just going to try to set it up as I'm talking here. Zelensky is being told by other world leaders what to do. America might be the one with the most power to influence Ukraine, but that was to get this. But that was to get this whole thing started, and that was a global project. So while America, yes, was the determined. While America, yes, in 2014 we did we administered the coup, like got the old guy replaced. And got not Zelensky, but the guy before Zelensky in, and we, threw out the original peace deal that was in place between Russia and Ukraine. It wasn't just us. That was a global order initiative. That was something that was signed off on not only by the United States, again, but by largely the West in general. The let's just say the WEF. Okay, this is a regime project, and how do I know that? How do I know it wasn't just America that was running things? America wanted to do it. Well, because all these other countries are on board with it. How many countries denounced America for the American government for doing what they did in 2014? How many, and on the flip side of that, how many were with it? How many said, "Oh, this is great, this is fantastic"? Anybody who had a problem with that would be talking about it now. There's no talk about how bad that was. Everybody's just on board with peace. So when that happened in 2014, and the peace treaty was broken, and we started talking about having Ukraine in NATO, this has been a long understanding that Russia would not allow such a thing, which is understandable. The same way we wouldn't allow Russia to put nukes and missiles and staging grounds for armies and all that in Mexico. We wouldn't have Canada make some sort of military alliance with China. It's just common sense here. This is what we're talking about. So naturally, it was understood that this was going to cause a problem, and everybody was for it. There was no Western leader who wasn't for it. We had oppositions coming from certain countries, but in terms of the ruling faction, a part of, and everybody's a part of the WEF, unfortunately, it was all green. Everything was ready to go. So we could look at in 2022 as well, when there was talk of a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine, and what happened there. Well, we had Boris Johnson come down and destroy that. This isn't something new here. This happened in 2022. Okay. And of course it was coached as, hey, let's not sign a bad peace deal. This was something that was going to stop the killing. This was something that was going to stop the war. Ukraine was not in a position to defeat Russia on its own. Without American support, without the entire Western world, mainly America doing 70, the rest of the world doing 30, this war would not have gone on this long. This is costing lives, infrastructure. Ukraine itself is selling off pieces of their country in order to rebuild whatever is going to be left. You got Russia taking a piece. You got the West taking a piece, and whatever else, and what's left is going to be left to the Ukrainian people. What kind of map is that? What's that going to look like? This peace deal that was killed by Boris Johnson, I think this would have been a way better deal for Ukraine than what we have today. And I'm pretty sure everybody understands, including Zelensky, understands that is the case. So all that to say, and let's not forget, there's been reports of the Nazis in that country, which are in the military. So we are funding Nazis. Let's not forget that Zelensky is getting threatened by them. They don't want peace. Nazis and Russians have a very long-standing feud. I think most of you guys know why and where that comes from. He's under a lot of pressure. A lot of people who have access to him don't want peace, and that's something that needs to be kept in mind. Does this absolve him from continuing the conflict? No, it doesn't. But I do feel for him. He's in a bad place, and on one hand is a lot of pain and suffering, but the right thing to do, which is to go for peace. And on the other hand is fame. You know, he's on the cover of all of every single propaganda outlet. Money. He's getting how much billions of dollars sent over there, and they're not keeping track of where it goes. They have no idea where it goes. He's getting paid, obviously. The people who pressure him, obviously they're taking their cut. You know, this money's going all over the place. There's fame, there's money, and then there's his life. Are we going to be able to keep Zelensky? How would we be able to keep him safe in Ukraine? Because obviously he would have to go back to Ukraine eventually. He'd have to stay in America if we were to guarantee his safety. But then if he's not in Ukraine, obviously somebody else is going to step up. It's not a great deal for him, and that needs to be understood. That needs to be understood. He's under immense pressure, and it is what it is. Secondly, aside from the pressures of Ukraine, there's pressures on the leading of the free world. The American president default has been the leader of the free world since the World War II. But that has been that's existing within the liberal order, right? That's existing within the current WEF dynamic. And Trump has been a blow to that. The American citizen, you and me, we have been a blow to that. Okay. And from when Trump was quote unquote voted out of office, that's another video. It's been an attack on him, but largely on the American people to get us back in line, to get us back to at least shutting up about not liking the WEF world order. That's what all his phony trials were. That's where them bending and twisting laws and doing somersaults during the summer solstice with their eyes squinting to make it fit into some ridiculous judicial pretext. That's what all that was. The Trump supporters getting audited, locking up January 6 people with all kinds of crazy sentences. The lawfare. It's all that is trying to put the genie back in the bottle. All that is trying to close the barn door after the American horse has run out of there. All that is them trying to stymie the will and the power of you and me, the American people. That's what that was, and that's what's continuing right now. Trump needs to keep that in mind. They don't want him in power. They don't want the American people making their own decisions. That what they want is us, is Biden. What they want is the same ruling structure, whatever that was. We for the most part, we all know Biden wasn't in control during that time. I don't know who was. Let's we can go ahead and make guesses, but Biden wasn't making decisions. And it's likely that Kamala Harris was not going to be making any decisions as well, because she didn't look like any kind of college graduate that I've ever seen. There's a threat to the American hegemony when it's the American people's will being executed. None of us want this gay-ass war. None of us wants this ridiculous non-stop bloodshed around the world. This war, that war, nobody wants this. But yet that's what's being pushed. That's what the establishment wants. In denying Zelensky the way he did, in stepping back from being the main, which is the right thing. We should step back from just having this war go forward. However, we need to not completely leave Ukraine. We need to not completely leave that theater. We don't need to have anybody there in terms of our army, our people. Frankly, we've had enough of our people over there. We've had enough of our money over there. But what I would like to see Trump do is invite not really the leaders so much, but for him to raise the banner of peace and invite the rest of the world and by extension, their leaders to join him, for him to lead that charge there. Now, maybe it won't be him personally. Maybe this is something that Marco Rubio can do. Somebody who he trusts with this, and it can't be a swamp jungle booger. It has to be like somebody who he trusts, somebody who the American people can rely on. That needs to lead that fight, because this is something that's going to need a lot of attention, and it's going to be something that look, they're already moving. We have the new British Prime Minister saying that there's going to be British troops in Ukraine. All right, we cannot let them run away with this, because World War III can happen if America is still asking for peace. This is something again, they want more conflict. They want blood. They want this place destroyed. They want us at each other's throats. We have to stop them. And that means Trump or somebody in his orbit will have to lead that. There's a lot on Trump's shoulder already. I don't know if he's going to be the one to lead it, but somebody that he trusts must lead it. They want to remove America from leading the free world. And and there's no other country pushing for peace like America is right now. And the only reason America is right now is because of the Trump administration. We cannot lose the hegemony right now as America, as the free world. We have the people. For the most part, I believe most people around the world recognize Trump's commitment to peace. I think they recognize that he's a break from the establishment, which has been leading the entire Western world into some sort of weird suicide. How the heck is Keir Starmer talking about he's going to have people to protect Ukraine's sovereignty when his own country? Is London even a British city anymore? I've had people go to England and say, man, they went years before and they say it's a completely different place. It doesn't feel like a British place anymore. I haven't been, but I've seen stuff going on and it looks terrible. But all he wants to do, again, because they're up, they all, the rest of the Western world are on the same page. They want this destruction of culture. They want this non how do I say it? This homogenization of the world by moving people around, by advocating for certain regime changes, namely Russia. That's the one I'm talking about right now. But I mean, you've seen the ones that they've done before. Trump, as of right now, is the only fighter we have. The Trump administration is the only fighting chance we have governmental wise that's pushing back on this. And he can rally people to him. He can. And, I'm not really sure exactly how to do it, but that's something that needs to be taken into account. So again, I just wanted to kind of touch base on here and just talk about, one, the pressures on Zelensky and why it is that he is refusing to go for peace, and two, just the world dynamic and why and how we cannot at all abdicate our place. I'm talking about American government's place in leading the world. We've been doing a piss poor job of it, and for some reason we've been, that was all accepted. But the one time we have somebody advocating for what the American people want, peace, prosperity, all of a sudden here comes England. And let me play for you, just so you guys, not to say you don't believe me, but just so we are on the same page here, what I'm talking about. All right. Shout out to Memology, making it nice and easy for the people to see. Shout out to Memology. That's a great channel to follow. He gives the news. It's like he gives it in little very important things in little bite-sized videos. It's a great way to share information quickly. It's great. So let's just take a look at this so we could all be on the same page here. This is Keir Starmer talking about Ukraine and what they want to do. I'm gonna speed it up a little bit, as you see.
First, we will keep the military aid flowing and keep increasing the economic pressure on Russia to strengthen Ukraine now. Second, we agreed that any lasting peace must ensure Ukraine's sovereignty and security, and Ukraine must be at the table. Third, in the event of a peace deal, we will keep boosting Ukraine's own defensive capabilities to deter any future invasion. Fourth, we will go further to develop a coalition of the willing to defend the deal in Ukraine and to guarantee peace.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's a problem. That's a problem. Keir Starmer is not some big tough guy, big shot. This little freak in front of your face here takes his orders and look, he'll bend over for daddy, no problem. This little cretin thing here, he'll take his orders and he'll say, yes, can I have some more, please? This little dog's ass is not leading anybody. He's put there because the freaking people who watch too much gosh darn TV are made to believe that this guy is going to do anything for them, and that's not true. He's a WEF. He's a global puppet. This guy he's not useful to what I think to what is good for the English people. And here's an example of that. Here's an example of that. It's not Russia going into their borders. It's not Russia that has a knife crime epidemic in England. But that's what he's focused on. That's interesting. That's interesting to me. But besides that, like he's saying, a coalition of the willing. Him making that, this is a direct confrontation to the American hegemony. This needs to be checked immediately. The same way we checked Zelensky is the same way the rest of these puppet prostitutes needs to be checked the same exact way. Get this freak off my screen. Get this degenerate off my screen. I freaking don't want to see that. Anyway, that's a problem. That's a problem. Let's continue listening to this whatever he is.
Not every nation will feel able to contribute, but that can't mean that we sit back. Instead, those willing will intensify planning now with real urgency. The UK is prepared to back this with boots on the ground and planes in the air. Together with others, Europe must do the heavy lifting. But to support peace in our continent and to succeed, this effort must have strong US.
All right, yeah. So anyway, and he calls on us, America. I can't listen to this degenerate anymore. He's gonna call on us, the American people, and our government to go to also help out. See, and this is what I'm talking about. He's setting the pace now. Trump needs to nip this in the bud. He needs to put that jelly belly yellow idiot back on his knees where he belongs. And that goes for France and Macron and his manses. That goes for every other degenerate around the world who wants to step to America and tell us we need to do this, we need to do that. I'm trying to keep it here. Okay. I get upset about this kind of stuff. We need to rein everybody in. It's gonna be hard. Again, it's America against the whole world, but we can do it. It's not going to be necessarily by force. It will be a thing of diplomacy. I think Trump has the talent. I think the American people obviously are the political will towards it, for it. And there is massive appeal all around the world for exactly that kind of leadership. Trump needs to step into that. He needs to step into that, because if we lose control of that, this thing will spiral into World War III. They'll push it that far. That's what they want. That's what they want. So let me know what you guys think. Appreciate you checking out the video. Till next time.